All right, in this episode of Bare Knuckle Bowker, very excited to be talking to an individual who is now in the headlining position for BKB 45, which goes down on September 6th, and a very intriguing fight set for the Mighty Trigon as James Connelly steps in there against Martin Reffell, and great having James back on Bare Knuckle Bowker. How are you doing, man?
I'm all good, yeah. Nice to be on back on Bare Knuckle Bowker again. But yeah, good to speak to you.
Yeah, no, likewise, man. It's always good getting to have you on the show because it usually means a big, exciting fight is coming up. And I think this fight with Rafael squarely fits within that. I mean, two individuals who are very highly ranked contenders in the promotion. So exciting stuff to say the least.
Yeah, what you say. We both come off a tough, hard fight in mine, you know.
Yeah, I know for sure. Like, what were your thoughts when, Rafael was kind of put out there as, the opponent for this one? Because he seems like an individual, I guess, similar to yourself in a way, who has a certain level of tenure and familiarity on the BKB circuit. So I guess what were your thoughts when this bout offer was initially put out to you?
You know what, Dylan? I'll fight anyone. I'll fight any of them. You know, I swear, like as long as a name gets put to me and I'm getting paid a certain amount of money, I'll take the fight. So it was a case of this fight coming off the Nelson fight and something like that. I did see how I thought I just grabbed this fight. You know, like it could have been anyone, Dylan. I don't get sent over a list of names where I go through the list and I choose who I want to fight. I never had that in my whole career. You know, I wouldn't want that, to be honest with you. I think you'll always pick for the easiest opponent. Just a human nature. But me personally, I never had it. Jim Freeman come to me with a name, said yes. Why? You know, I'm a better than 6 months ago now. So you know, I needed to fight again. So whoever it was, it had to be. So yeah, there was no hesitation to take the fight.
No, yeah, and I wouldn't expect there to be. I mean, your whole career run speaks to that gamesmanship of being down to fight whoever. I guess I just figured there would maybe be that certain level of, oh,
Yeah.
okay, this matchup makes sense. Like we've both been on this circuit for a while and have done great things. I guess I'm more meant it in that kind of vein, more so.
Was that a question, Dylan?
No, not necessarily. I was just
Can
saying
you hear
that.
me, Dylan?
Yeah, I've had a couple signal issues. It seems like it's kind of coming in and out, sort
Yeah,
of thing. But yeah,
yeah. Look, the middle of the Wales. Up here training for the week, you see. So I've been the signals up and down. Yeah,
no, yeah, no worries, man. I mean, I just
stop.
appreciate you making the time.
Can you hear
In,
you hear me, Dylan? Yeah.
yeah, we're kind of coming in and out a little bit on each
Well,
other,
keep
but I
going.
guess just with this fight, being like I said, moved to the main event, I'd be curious to, I guess, get your thoughts on the fight that was previously the main event. 'Cause it's since been moved to a later event this year. Like, what are your thoughts on that Paulie Malignaggi and Tyler
Well,
Goofjohn fight?
do you know what? With all due respect, without blowing smoke, you know, I should be a main event fighter, but because I was undercard of Paulie Malignaggi, I didn't care. You know what I mean? Like, I really didn't care. I was like, I was glad to be. You know, it's kind of proud being at Malignaggi, being on the co-main event to Malignaggi. As far as that fight concerned, like, yeah, you know, people have injuries and stuff like that, but spraying foam and stuff like that's enough to pull you out of the fight. But then again, the reschedule it a month later. It's a good fight, you know, good fight for both of them. It could be doing with Tyler's the way Tyler just tries and walks forward, and then you got Paulie Malignaggi who likes to box. You see, so it might be Malignaggi on the outside just pinging him all over the place. I see.
Yeah, I mean, interesting to see him back in the bare knuckle space because he fought in BKFC many years ago. I'm sure you
Yeah,
know that also. But I guess in kind of talking about what seems to be, I guess, his path within bare knuckle, because it seems like he wants to not even just in a participatory kind of way, but really carve out a path to, collect a title someday. And I mean, as someone like yourself who's collected world titles, British titles, Police Gazette belts in bare knuckle boxing, like what do you think Paulie Malignaggi's, I guess, ceiling in that kind of regard is? Like, does it seem like a feasible thing for him to be a two sport champion in your estimation?
He could be. Malignaggi's good, you know what I mean? And he has had bare knuckle fights before. Hold on. No, I was bare knuckling. Yeah, he's had bare knuckle fights years and years ago, so he's no stranger to this game. He's not just coming in just at Xbox. He has had bare knuckle fights. I remember Artem Lobov. I remember watching that fight when he fought him. But as far as this, I mean, my first question was, how much is he getting paid? So I thought, how much is this guy getting paid to come off the couch or do commentary to actually fight? You know, they're probably giving him a big chunk there that he couldn't say no to it. You know, you got to understand one thing. Someone comes up and gives you X, Y, and Z for a fight. Some people are just going to say yes straight away. You know, is it because of that? Does he want to stay in the sport and become a world champion? Or is it because of the bread? You know, like, you don't know. Everyone has their own reasons and, you know, respect it. But, yeah, like him staying involved in the sport, you know, there's a lot of killers in there, mate, and I don't really care about names and Malignaggi's and stuff like that. I don't, especially when you're fighting them. I mean, they're coming there to hurt you, man. And, you know, Malignaggi's had a great career, so would you want to try? Would you want to go through all the stress of it all over again? Because let's have it right. You know, you're fighting Tyler Goodjohn. You know, like who is he nowadays? You know, like he won a world title years ago and against someone that I mean I beat over 3 rounds. So it's like and that's the reason why he's chosen Tyler first because you know he's looking to smash him up. So I don't really know to be honest with you. If he does a good job on Tyler, I might give him the incentive to carry on with it. You know, but I don't know. Is it a one-hit wonder? Is it a one-fight deal? I don't know, mate, to be honest with you. But as I say, Dylan, it's a dirty, horrible sport, mate. I mean, you got the credentials like Malignaggi has, or you got to have some money left. I don't think it's one of them sports you want to be diving into, man, you know, and just off the bat like he has been doing right now. Yeah, all the best to him, you know, it's a hard sport.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, I get where you're coming from when you say that. And I mean, I discuss your history being a champion and no stranger to title fights in this sport in general, because we kind of referenced your last fight there with LT Nelson and everything like that. And I was seeing an interview where it seemed like you were talking about how, like, pretty early on in the fight, your hand was compromised, I believe was the operative wording, I guess, in terms of like the overall takeaways from that BKB 38 fight
Do you
there.
know
Yeah.
what, Dylan? Yeah, yeah. The thing is, man, do you know what? Yeah, mate, listen. The fight's the fight. You are who you are on the day. Like, no one cares, like I say, but the 5 month training camp for me was no good. I didn't feel as good as I'd done the Albuquerque. And that's not no, that's my own fault, you know. I didn't feel as good as I'd done Wolverhampton, as an Albuquerque. You know, I'd done an 11-week training camp for Albuquerque. I literally come back for a week and a half and then jump straight back into an 8-week camp. And in camps with me, Dylan, I don't mess around. I don't drink. I don't go out. I don't on camp for me. Concentration went. You know, I remember being in the first round, throwing the jab, hitting him with a jab. I had people signs, man. You look try. I don't really know what over the inside of that. We trying to the you know, I don't really all these things, man, but as my timing was on, just all know. There's no inside, even though say percent by went through me, and you know, still was you know, so it takes me out of it. Might have been like that being that's mine. What's going on? This ain't my not field, and you know, else, you know, we coming hard on that end ground.
Oh. Bit of a connectivity issue with Mr. James Connelly here ahead of his very high stakes fight against Martin Reffell at BKB's looming event in Bristol. And just a lot of big stakes in this fight for sure, both top ranked contenders in the weight category, as I said, and people vying for that LT Nelson fight and things of that persuasion.
Uh, there, you can see me, Dylan.
Yeah, yeah, I can see you and hear you, man. Yeah.
Mate, if we get to the end of this interview, man, I swear to God, Dylan, you know what I mean? Yeah, what I was saying, the 5 month training camp never done me no justice, you know. Like now, what I've done, what I learned, because I always try and learn from every one of my fights or every one of my losses. I look at it like, right, this camp, I'm only going to do 8 weeks. From the start to finish of this camp, it's been 8 weeks. I've now been in training camp for 6 weeks, and the fight is 2 weeks to Saturday. That's all I need, you know what I mean? You're going to see a better James this time, more switched on James, you know. That's what I'm looking to do.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting to see that. And like I said, your opponent, definitely someone who has a strong pedigree in their own right. But I guess while we're still on the
Yeah.
LT Nelson subject, I'd be curious to get your thoughts on his rematch with Sam Liera, like just in as far as that was, Nelson's only loss in bare knuckle prior to that and kind of like tying up their series a bit. Like, what were your thoughts on that outing there?
Oh, mate, listen, that's what I'm saying. Just goes to show I'm the only person. Listen, I believe I won when the draw happened. And obviously, I lost the next one on points. But everyone else is knocked out. There's not an opponent that he's fought that he hasn't stopped, except me. You know what I mean? So when I was watching it, I was like, fucking hell, like, I done 6 rounds with him. Larry lasted, what, 2 minutes, if that? You know, because you know what it is as well, Dylan? It's because Nelson, with his wins, he's going confident. The confidence is oozing out of him now, mate. It's going to be hard. You know what I mean? He's one of them. Like, he's going to go when he feels like he can't go. He's going to go even more. So he's getting so much confidence from these wins that make him perform the way he is now. He's already a tough fighter as it is, but he's at his highest right now. You know what I mean? And Liera, mate, I spoke to Sam after, quality guy. I did speak to him after. I said, well done, mate. You know what I mean? It's a tough sport, and you go against Nelson and, he thanked me and stuff like that. But as I say, it goes to show his fight with me goes 6 rounds. My other fight went with 6 rounds. Everyone else has been stopping 1 round, 2 rounds, 3 rounds. They're all getting out of there. So I take some pleasure in that alone, And I know myself in my own brain that I can be better, more switched on in the fight, which I intend to do on the next fight.
Well, I mean, just considering the dynamics of your first fight, as you mentioned, where I think there was a few people out there that also thought you very well could have gotten that nod in the first Nelson outing, and obviously the rematch played out where it was a loss on points and everything. But like I said before, I feel like you and Reffell being still very highly ranked contenders there, I feel like you're not at all far off from a title shot. Like I can't imagine you'd have to do a lot of chatting with the promotion about setting up another Nelson fight, just considering how exciting the first pair of outings were. I mean, first one got put in the Bare Knuckle Boxing Hall of Fame for crying out loud.
Yeah. Yeah. I've achieved a lot in the sport, but you got to understand, Dylan. I've already been a world champion.
Yeah.
I've already been a world champion. I'm on high money as far as what I get paid for. So when I look at it, I'm like, what's the belt to me now? Really, don't get me wrong. If I'd fight Nelson every day of the week, that sort of person I am. When it comes to this fighting game, I'll fight him every day of the week. Does a belt need to involve? No. Do I need to be chasing this belt, this beat? Of course, it's nice to have, and I'll fight for it any time, but that's not my goal now. I've been a world champion. I've been a British champion. I've won the Police Gazette belt before. So as far as bare knuckles concerned, the only belt that I haven't got is the diamond belt. Is the Police Gazette diamond belt. We'll get that. We'll get that before I go. But as far as me just thinking, oh, wait, I want a title shot. Mate, I'm on a contract. I get paid the same. I get paid more money on this fight than I've done for my last fight. So and I get paid for more for my next fight than I do for this fight. So whatever you want to do, they want to throw a title in there. It's all good to me. But I fight for the good fights now. having great fights and being worthy contenders, and and be able to leave the sport as in a person that fought the best when they were around. You check my resume, I've got all quality fighters that become world champions, were world champions. I've got a lot of credentials from that. So I'll take that with me. You know what I mean, Dylan?
Well, yeah, I mean, you have one of the deeper
Trying to
resumes.
chase world titles. Yeah, sorry, Dylan. Sorry, mate. Trying to chase world titles and waking up every morning going, I've got to get that title. I don't have that feeling, man. I know what it's like to win a world title in front of my family, friends and family and supporters. I know what it's like. I know what the feeling's like. So it's a feeling that I'm not looking to chase down. Title comes up. I've got 2 fights left on my contract now. I deal with them two the way I want to be dealing with them two. And then everything opens up again then, But yeah, chasing for a world title belt, mate, is not what I'm doing at the moment, Johnson, unless it comes up, There is people in line for them sort of things. I am the number 1 contender as well, so, I'll pop up sooner rather than later.
Yeah, and I guess in that kind of vein, like it seems like, per what you're talking about, or at least what I'm getting from it, it seems like you're very attuned to like the idea of more so having like very exciting fights going forward. Because like you said, you ultimately get paid all the same. Like, are there people on the BKB circuit right now, or even just fighters out there in general, that you have a certain level of intrigue in fighting that could create that exciting fight?
Yeah. I've had what? I've had three fights. Yeah, sorry, Dylan. I'll keep on interrupting you. I've had three fights, bare knuckle now. Everything changed when we went with the Americans, mate. They give us contracts, the promotions with it. A lot more money was getting put in, So I've come from the battle, man, when we never got paid enough. You know what I mean? And we had, instead of 3-minute rounds, we were doing the 2-minute rounds. We've done 7 rounds. So I come from that era of it, with the money, the eyes on the sport, twice for bare knuckle. Been there 4 times, So
Yeah, I mean, it must be interesting for you to.
signal.
Yeah, no, yeah, for sure. Sorry, there was a bit of a delay. I was just gonna say it must be interesting through even your, I guess, anecdotal journey in the sport to see, I guess, just what it's grown into. Because I mean, like you said, you were fighting on the circuit very early on in like that modern resurgence of the sport, and now it's on Vice TV, and just seems like it's always growing, and it's just this massive sort of thing now.
Yeah.
So yeah, incredible stuff.
Listen, remember, Dylan, I started this sport in 2018. You know what I mean? I'm coming on to my 14th bare knuckle fight, There was no glitz and glamours, man. There was all no mad. We had walkouts and stuff like that. We never had all the stuff that's going on now, ceremonial weigh-ins. We get up, we get the chances to go over to America. You know what I mean? Like, before I started BKB, I've never been to America. I never had intention. I weren't allowed in America for my criminal history. Obviously, the years went by, clean slate. Boom, the BKB gave me a chance to go to America. And I fought there twice. And I've been there 4 times through bare knuckle. So, you know, this is not going to last forever. And I don't expect it to last forever. But when I was in it, I put everything I had into it. There's nothing more that can come out of me. And it shows as well. I don't like to use the term legends or on this in the sport. That's other people's opinions and stuff like that. I don't get into that. It's just I know deep down in my heart of hearts, the fights I've had, the tough fights, the rounds I've did, the places I've went. I mean, the first time I fought Nelson when I had no coach over there, I had to fight him on my own. So I really grew as a person, being involved in the sport, being under certain situations. I get more than just fighting and winning out of this, Dylan. You know what I mean? I get it helps me in my life. With training camps, keeps me healthy, keeps me fit. You become a better person from the training and stuff like that. And I'm doing something professionally, which is, doesn't put me in jail anymore like it used to and stuff like that. So. Yeah, I've got more than just winning and punching people out bare knuckle. I have, Dylan.
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, as you said, acclaimed champion, you've collected multiple titles, and definitely one of the deeper resumes in the sport. I mean, even just going through your tapology in a cursory way, like fighting guys like, Jimmy Sweeney, Marley Churcher, Connor Tierney, Rico Franco. I mean, just so many massive names. Sean George, it's a really massive, deep resume for sure.
Deep resume, yeah, and you know what? That's what gets me set up for these fights. This is the reason why I'm able to go the rounds with Nelson, have the good fights with him, and have the good fights with his top level fighters. Because I never had no, like I was my second fight was Dan Chapman. My fourth fight was Rico Franco. These were early on in my career, man. These were all these become world champions. Sweeney obviously was a bit later, but these were like Chapman ended up becoming a world champion after he fought me. Franco now he's the European BKFC champion now, just beat Jimmy Sweeney. So these are all still on the rise, you know what I mean? And I fought these in 2018, you know what I mean? 2019, I fought these. But yeah.
Yeah, and I'd kind of, I guess, seen a recent post where it was kind of like showing LT Nelson calling out Barry Jones for a
Yeah.
rematch, just with Barry Jones having the light heavyweight title now, and it would give LT that, three division champion status if he were to get his ideal outcome and that were to get set up. Like if that rematch did end up getting booked, do you see it playing out a great deal differently than the first fight, or what would your thoughts be on that?
Do you know what, Dylan? I never make predictions on fights. I don't get into that. Number one, I'll probably get it wrong. You know what I mean? And every time I put a bet on for a fight, I get it wrong as well. You know what I mean? I'm not that guy. I stay out of it. I don't go down and go, I wish Nelson win, I wish Barry. Yeah, I'm from England. I'm close to the Welsh boys and that. Barry's a quality guy. We would like our own to win. Of course, we would like our own to win. I'm not sitting there wishing one could win or the other. It's a dirty business, mate. And when the two get in there, they have to go head to head with each other. No one's taking the black eyes. No one's taking the cuts. Only them have to take it. And it's up to them who's going to win. Some people, obviously, you get your fans and stuff like your supporters. But me being in the background, being like, I want him to win and all that, I guess I have it, mate. You know what I mean? Mate, they use this term family in BKB. There's no family. This is every man for themselves, mate. It's a dirty, horrible sport. And when I say dirty and horrible, you get your face rearranged. If you're this guy that wants to come in and be the hard man, you're going to get found out there. You either are the hard man or you're Ensign. You're going to get found out either one. But as far as that fight's concerned, it's a quality fight. Again, can Barry come back and beat Nelson? Can Nelson run over him again? How the fight was. So it's going to be a quality fight to watch. You know what I mean? Can they stop Nelson? Because Nelson's pound for pound number one and rightly deserved as well. I don't really believe in his pound for pound, but as far as top of the sport with the fights he's had and the people he's been in with, you've got to give it to him. So what a fight that will be. Barry's going to come even harder this time. He's going to remember Nelson beating him on his home soil, in Wales as well. So and then Barry's sort of person. He'll sit there and he'll get annoyed and he'll go and train harder and make sure everything's correct next time. Would he win the fight? I don't know. That's the waiting to be seen. But what a fight! You know what I mean? Like they keep on pulling out these fights, mate. Like even though I'm actually fighting myself. I'm like a fan as well, I'm a supporter as well. I get buzzing for these fights, I do, especially when I'm not fighting on there. I'm rubbing my hands together and watching the pay-per-views or I'm getting on YouTube like I do, I don't watch series, I don't watch TV. All I watch is bare knuckle boxing. That's it, and boxing. I love the sport,
Yeah, and that's so cool, man. It really comes across in such a big way, and it is kind of interesting in a certain sense. I mean, not interesting relative to, I guess, what I know about you. Like, it kind of makes sense just through the interviews we've done before. Like, you were talking about LT Nelson's pound for pound status, and you were like, I don't really know about the whole pound for pound thing, even though you yourself are number 10 in the pound for pound.
I'm number 10.
But yeah, you are, man. Yeah.
I can't believe it, Dylan, man. Number 10. That's like, I was thinking, well, yeah, it's people's opinions, and I don't really, and you see everyone commenting on it. I can't believe that Barry Jones is number 9. I can't believe Connelly's number. I'm like, lads, chill out. You know what I mean? Like, to me, I know why that is. They put it out for talking points. Everyone's not waking up in the morning. Everyone wakes up in the morning. They could be the best in the world. Next morning, they think they're the worst in the world. You know what I mean? Like, it's how you feel about yourself. Like, I don't necessarily look at all fighters and go, right, Nelson's the best. That's it. I want to fight him again. Let's have a fight again. Let's have another 6 rounds. Let's see if we can go. Let's say 1 to me, 1 to him, and we'll go for the third one to the decider, And I'll come back better this time. I'll remember all. I'm learning from my training camp before. So, good stuff, mate. Good stuff.
But you made a comment earlier that I thought was kind of interesting. Like, just in as, I mean, I might paraphrase a little bit, but just in as far as like there's something about bare knuckle that really reveals someone's true character. Like, someone can try to be hard and put on this certain front, but it's like your true, I guess, character makeup is going to get revealed in there. Is that ultimately one of the big things that draws you to that?
The thing about bare knuckling, but you got to remember, I'm too deep in it now, mate. So as I say, I'm coming on to my 14th fight. I remember the time when I had my first bare knuckle fight. It was 3 2-minute rounds. And I was that anxiety. I was like, how am I going to have a bare knuckle fight without getting my face rearranged, being in there for 6 minutes? I remember all this going through me, man. So I know what everyone's going through. I know what it's like. And now I've done 7-2s, I've done 5-3s, I've done 6-3s. I've done 7 2-minute rounds with Jimmy Sweeney and never come out of a mark on my face. And I've had the luxury of that. And I've also been in fights when you'll come out looking like the Elephant Man, like my last fight. But yeah.
Yeah, it's just such an incredible sport, and it's cool that I guess someone like yourself who's so well established in the sport is also clearly such like a fervent fan of it. It's cool that you have, I guess, that confluence of the two things. And I mean, not that there's necessarily anything wrong with like fighters who almost treat it as just like a job and they have a more compartmentalized way of going about doing things. I've definitely interviewed fighters who more so just do it for work and kind of like tune out of it in their, I guess, like downtime or recreational time. But it's just cool, like how many amazing things you've accomplished in this sport, and you're clearly such a massive, passionate fan of it and everything. It's great stuff.
That's how bare knuckle is life to me, mate. Let me tell you, I own a gym and I'm a professional fighter. Two of the best possible things I could ever be with the way I am as a person. I channel all my energy into the training, and I get to run a gym where people come and train. As far as what you're saying before about the mentality of it, the only time you want to do this bare knuckle, like literally, when you're in the first round. It's not one of them sports where you're like, oh, I'll go and have a feel at bang, that first punch gets hit, you're like, oh my God, what am I doing now? And we saw that on the last BKFC show that was actually in Birmingham. You had high quality boxers that were in on that show. First round jobs got done. I had one of them message me, gone, James, I saw the wars that you're in, man. It's completely different. I thought it was like a boxing fight. I'm like, no, mate. Bare knuckle, what I say, if you're not aware, if your eyes are not open, it's like being in a dark room and someone just threw about 10 snooker balls. You're moving around, you're just waiting, you're just hoping that pink doesn't come at the side of your head, which sparks you out. That's the closest thing that I could tell you about bare knuckle. But the mentality, as I say, people going, I want to be a bare knuckle fighter. How many people I've saw coming to this sport talking a lot of shit, saying they're going to be this? They've had one fight, never see him again. So, I mean, I know everything from experience in this game. Like, I see, because I come in with this mentality, don't worry, this bare knuckle, mate. Let me tell you, once that hits you and that blood goes in your eye and you're like, and it all gets a bit, then it shows whether you want to do it or not. And it shows like the people with 10 fights, the 14 fights I've had, the Jimmy Sweeney with the 23s, you got the Francos with the 15s, 16s, you got Scott McHugh with almost the 20s now. These are people that, let me say, if you got to the fifth fight in bare knuckle, then it shows that you're that guy. You know what I mean? Like there's something in this sport, and then you get the people who won't do it, or they have the one fight and they never come back again. So is there bare knuckles a mentality? What's going on in your head? To be honest with you, mate, you never get the guys. You never see the posh boys having a bare knuckle fight, will you, mate? You know what I mean? We got to come from the grind, mate. We got to come from the off the streets and here, and I come from an Irish family where you mess around, you get your head slapped off by them. You know what I mean, mate? So I was always ducking and diving away from shots when I was about 3, man, from the mother. You know what I mean? So you know what I mean, mate? Yeah. So yeah, he's a mentality to bare knuckle, and that's it.
Yeah, I mean, well said. And I wasn't even intending to ask this per se, but as you were talking about it, it reminded me of an interview I recently had with BKB champion Courtney Cameron ahead of the Paddy Juarez rematch that just transpired on August 16th there. But we were talking about, I guess, some comments that I guess Luke Rockhold had made about bare knuckle. He was calling it like a dumbass sport and it's not a fight, and I guess things of that persuasion. And I kind of asked Cameron's thoughts on it, and she, I guess, had a bit of a giggle. That was kind of like the operative wording. Like, did you
know what?
into those comments or
Dylan? Exactly what Dylan. I get it. Sorry, mate, for interrupting you. What I just said to you, mate, that they only find out when they're in the first round of their first fight. What did Rockhold do? Bang, felt his teeth go, get me out of there. Some of the people will stick it out and do the rounds, stuff like that. He found, mate, listen, everyone has their own opinion on the sport. I'm not going to get offended if he calls bare knuckle a joke of a sport. No, mate, you couldn't do it. Just like I ain't done MMA, different strokes for different folks. That's exactly what it is. But that's a prime example of someone that wanted a bare knuckle, probably thought it was going to be this, that, and the other, and found out it's fucking not, mate. You can get your teeth knocked out. You can get scars going across your face. You can come up messed up, mate. That's why that's why I say dirty and horrible sport. And you've got to be well involved in it. The training. Don't come to this sport if you want to be known as a hard person and you want to have that sort of fear factor about you, man. It's not the sport. There is guys out there, man, who wouldn't say boo to anyone, but when they get in that ring, mate, they'll start slicing you up, mate. You know what I mean? And stuff like that. The more calmer people, the people that train hard, keep the mouth closed. And you can talk a bit of smack. I'm not talking about that. People like to have a little back and forth and stuff like that. I'm talking about that mentality about you want to come in here for anything other that I want to be a bare knuckle fighter. And Luke Rockhold found that out, And what's someone going to do when they do lose a fight and they almost lose a teeth? Call it a dumbass sport. Like they're going to say, they're trying to like slag the sport off and use it as a term like that. And really, mate, you went out of go. You weren't saying that before. You was all getting ready to have this fight. As soon as you got caught with that first bang, that first crack your teeth open, because his teeth, he said he didn't want to lose his teeth. I'm in a sport where I can't use everything that I've used in my life, about his kicks, his MMA grappling and stuff like that. He said that. He said, I don't know what a sport is when I can't use them, but he knew what he was getting involved in. Before he used these, just the bare knuckles, so he's a prime example of bare knuckle fighters coming in with a wrong attitude, It's an attitude and mentality based sport, this is. You know what I mean? You see guys, I've spoken to boxers, mate, that are high quality boxers. No, never would dream about doing a bare knuckle fight. They stick the gloves on, man, and they'll be wrapping people up quickly. But, yeah. A prime example that is just saying that, Dylan, and it's good that you mentioned that because it just validates what I just said. You know what I mean about it being no joke of a sport, and you're going to need more than just wanting to be hard and want to be known as a bare knuckle fighter to be in it, to get anywhere in it. Sorry.
Yeah, and I mean, you're as good a person as any to offer insights into that regard. And yeah, I did use that same kind of phrasing that you did earlier too, like basically amounting to a different strokes for different folks type of situation in a certain regard. But it's always great getting to talk to you, James. I do want to be cognizant of your time and everything though, man. So I figured I'd give you the floor, and if in case you had any final parting thought you wanted to add as we're wrapping up here on Bare Knuckle Bowker.
Yeah, I just want to thank all my sponsors. Thank you so much for all them doing this camp. My strength and conditioning coach, my Spencer McCracken Jr., Adam Powell, which is my intake, my girlfriend Kaya, just everyone really. That just just helps me along these training camps that I go through. I'm in Wales at the moment. I'm here for their week. Next week I'm in Spain, so I'll do a week there just before it comes to the fight week. There's a lot that goes into this, and a lot of people are there to support me. So I like to thank them. And get ready for a good fight on September the 6th. I've just heard Lucas Brown as well, the big heavyweight, the former was the WBA heavyweight champion. He's now fighting on the undercard. I don't like using that term and people being under me, mate, undercard these, but that's what's happening. I've gone from being on Paulie Malignaggi's undercard to Lucas Brown, now being on the fight below me. I take all these little things I do out of this sport, mate. You know what I mean? I used to watch Lucas Brown as a heavyweight. I used to watch Paulie Malignaggi as but I come from boxing. I do boxing is my sport. You know what I mean? So these are the people I used to watch, and now I'm fighting on their cards, and you know what I mean. So we live in dreams out here, Dylan. We live in dreams.
Well, I mean, that's an incredible note to end things off on too, man. I love just the tangible excitement you have for this sport and just combat sports in general, man. Yeah. It's always great having you on the program, and I'm looking forward to checking out this fight on September 6th. Definitely a great main event at BKB and everything like that. And just, stoked for this Martin Reffell fight at BKB 45. And yeah, like I said, I'll be peeping it when it goes down, and people can do the same on Vice TV. But until then, man, you have a good rest of your day. And thanks so much for coming on again.
Thank you so much, Dylan. Anytime you interview, mate, we'll get one after as well, after the fight. Now, you know where I am, mate. So I'm only a message away. So thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you, man. We'll definitely have to do that. It's always nice having you on Bare Knuckle Bowker. But yeah, you have a great rest of your day. And thanks for the great insights as always, James.
Legend, Dylan. Legend, mate. You have a great evening. See you later. All right.